Hello and welcome. Today's topic is responsive does not mean conscious. And I know there's a few people who disagree with me on this in my life. Many people do react unconsciously. It can seem deliberate, but it rarely is conscious if it's unkind. For me, conscious words and behaviour are always kind. And there's also comes back to me the meaning of the word sin. I remember when I came across the original meaning of the word sin, which means to miss or forget. And what are we missing or forgetting? Ourselves. We live in a thought-created reality so often, I think, and it's not conscious. We're not aware. So much of the patterns of behaviour, of words and the way we interact are unconscious. And that just means that we're not aware necessarily of the impact of what we say and what we do. And we're not aware of ourselves, that pure, still, silent awareness. When there's, a direct living awareness of presence, we are then fully conscious to everything, and we know who and what we are as a direct experience of stillness and silence, of pure awareness, rather than that collection of thoughts that tells us who we are and who other people are. We have ideas of other people, and we can often hold them to the past as well. And when you see people doing really unkind things to each other, when there's challenging behaviour and it looks deliberate, people are doing things that aren't kind. But I don't think anybody does that deliberately or consciously. I don't think they realise. I think so many of us are struggling in the world. There's a suffering, there's a level of stress that captures our attention. We're battling with everything. We're in a forceful, controlling experience, and we're just trying to get peace. Sometimes we're just trying to be liked or loved. We're trying to feel good about ourselves, to feel powerful, to feel important, to feel relevant. And so people do some really weird and wonderful things, actually. Sometimes not so wonderful. Sometimes it can seem really cruel what people do. And yet for me, if it's cruel, it's not conscious. And I know this is a contentious topic, and there's plenty of people who disagree with me on this. But I think the more conscious I've become, the more aware I have been, and the more sustainable the experience of presence is within me, the more I've recognised that people don't realise what they're doing. It is unconscious behaviour. It's like there's a program operating, governing the person for what they're saying and doing. And it's true in my own experience too as well. I see how there's still sometimes I say things and react in certain ways that aren't in accordance to my core values. And then I can beat myself up. I don't actually tend to do that so much these days. I'm lucky in that I do have a more conscious recognition that it's not my fault. If I'm doing something that's unkind, not in accordance with my values, then it's unconscious. And the only way to change that is to become more conscious. Consciousness implies choice. There's no choice. We are just running through an automated habit. The way we operate in the world is through habit. We've learned to be certain ways and to identify in certain ways. And I think it's so freeing to become more conscious of who and what you are. When you do that, then for me, the behaviour purifies. The language we use and the way we interact and operate purifies and becomes more gentle. And so that's kind of often how I know whether I'm coming from a conscious place or an unconscious pattern of behaviour is what impact are my words having on other people? Because if they are finding what I'm saying challenging, then it might just be because of their own experience and their own perception, but it might also be that where I'm coming from is not as conscious as it could be. And so I then come back to my own heart and just notice, recognize, be aware of stillness now, of the space, the spaciousness of silence, of being. And then that purifies my words and purifies communication with others. So often that leads to listening. So I'm listening to the other person and I can take on board everything they're saying, even if it's dysfunctional, even if it's unkind or challenging. If I listen fully and completely, it allows me to be present while I'm listening, and that purifies my experience. And I think when we come back to a state of purity within ourselves, I think it allows other people to do the same, and it clears up the communication, so we can become more conscious and act rather than react. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if you've got any comments or any questions, please post them below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.